Hey everybody, it's Dr. Rich Shivener for Writing in Digital Cultures. For this video, I want to talk for a few minutes about this week's assigned readings. Those were Douglas Eyman's chapter from Digital Rhetoric, Theory, Method, and Practice, and Nicole Starosielski's Signal Tracks. Signal Tracks is another reminder that the more wireless we claim to be, the more wired we are. We rely on fiber optic cables that are nestled in the deep sea and across the world to communicate at lightning speed, right? So we saw the sharks attacking the fiber optic cables that were nestled by Google. And, that moment really that we saw that went viral is, again, a reminder that we rely on these environmental conditions in order to communicate at lightning speed. So the work we do on Google Drive to send it to somebody across the world, it requires those, satellite dishes, cables, what have you. And as she says here, these environments, the ones she depicts in the images in this article, do not merely hide network infrastructure. Cables have left material remnants on the cultural practices and ecological possibilities that unfold there. These beaches have become part of our global cable systems. So as much as we like to hide our cables and claim to be wireless, there are remnants that are scattered across the world, and she's inviting us to pay attention to those. So this is a fantastic and brief article, mainly a photo exhibit you can see nestled within the article. So we could see that these cables stretch across parts of Oregon, California, Guam, Australia, and other sites. Now, for Douglas Eyman's digital rhetoric readings, I'm asking you, and I had asked you in the reading really, to pay attention to the canons of classic and digital rhetoric. And Eyman takes a nice approach by including a table that outlines the classical canons, which you may have learned about if you've taken any classes on rhetoric, and the digital practice that we might see today. So let me just cover those briefly. The canon of invention is finding available means of persuasion. Arrangement is formalized organization. So this might be research, right, that you've writ large you've conducted at a library or in a more online setting. Formal organization being how I want to lay out my paragraphs and so forth on a page. Style, ornamentation, or appropriate form. So this could be the kind of tone of voice you use, the font colors, etc., etc. Delivery, oral presentation. That was in the classic sense, but now we typically just hand in the paper to the teacher, or we might publish it in a newspaper or in an online setting. And then memorization of speech. And to deliver something without having written it down was a marker of rhetoricians in ancient times. So I am grossly glossing over the rhetorical canons here, but this article describes it in full detail. And digital practices can include searching and negotiating networks of information, manipulating digital media, as well as selecting ready-made works and reconstituting them into new works, remixing. That's what you did for your first major project. You did a significant amount of arrangement. Style, understanding elements of design, color, motion, interactivity, font choice. Delivery, understanding and using systems of distribution. And then memorization in the 21st century is more about information literacy, knowing how to store, retrieve, and manipulate information. If you turn to the sustainability reports we're looking at, you'll see these canons in action, right? So understanding elements of design. I mean, if you look at the opening page, you could break down one single page about their font choices, headings, and then the strategic use, in this Google example, of placing images which break up the short passages about sustainability. So here we have a photo caption with the Googleplex, a nice larger font that signals we're talking about mission and values, and then the expository sort of paragraphs we have here are in a pretty consistent font. And then distribution, this is most likely distributed as a PDF, and I hosted it right from Google's services page. And where was I? Yeah, information literacy and memorization. So knowing that it's stored there for a considerable period. It's one thing to hand in something, that's linked through Google Docs, let's say. It's another thing to make sure it stays there and it's retrievable at any time. Okay, so again, I kind of glossed over these two, but this should give you an idea of what I'm thinking about and what I hope you'll be thinking about as you engage with these readings. So the material conditions remind us that we are wired even as we claim to be wireless. This has a nice connection to the big tech I'm asking you to look at. And when you look at that big tech, think about these canons and how they're being put to use. Okay. Always let me know if you have any questions about these readings and beyond, and I'll see you on the Slack channel. Thanks.